Shalom, brothers and sisters. Thank you very much for watching. In this video, I'm going to talk real quickly about sickness and disease and healing. Now, I'm on Matthew chapter 9, verse 35, and it says here that YHWH went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues, preaching the gospel of the kingdom, healing every sickness and every disease among the people. And I love that verse because that basically encapsulates what YHWH was doing all throughout his ministry. He was preaching, he was teaching, but he was also healing every sickness and disease among the people. And this is an aspect of YHWH's ministry that I think we are severely lacking. I was watching a video from a brother who, I don't think he's a believer, but he was at a hospital. If you're watching, I'll send this to you. I'll comment on your video actually. And he was outside a hospital in London, and he was saying, well, all these religious people are arguing over doctrines and blah, blah, blah. Well, where's all the healing? Where's all the deliverance? Where is that? That's what's actually needed, because there are a lot of sick people in this world. And it's so true. This world today, we might think that, oh, everything's so great and comfortable because we've got modern conveniences and so forth. But actually, no, there is so much need for healing, from deliverance, from sickness, from disease and so forth. And I would suggest that the church, the believers in YHWH, have mostly flopped it when it comes to following the example of our master, our redeemer, our big brother, our big brother Yahya. In my language, in my family's language, Lugisu or Lumasaba, Yahya means brother. He's our brother. YHWH is our brother, our big brother. We should be following his example. He said, I can't remember where exactly it was. I think it's in Yohanan, John. He said that those who believe in me, these works they shall do, but even greater than this, if they just believe, if they have faith. So where are these works? Now, I think one of the problems is that we don't really believe that that power is available to us. And something I wanted to share with you in this real quick video is with regard to the prophet Yeshayahu, or Isaiah, chapter 53. The famous, starts at the end of chapter 52 and goes on to 53. The famous passage. And I want to show you something that I think that a lot of translations, what's going on here? A lot of translations don't bring out the fact that healing, sickness and disease are mentioned in Isaiah chapter 53. I want to just go to verse 3 and 4 and read. It says, he is despised and rejected. This is the New King James Version, by the way, that I'm reading. And that's important for a reason. On the right-hand side, you'll see the Young's literal translation. On the left-hand side, New King James Version. It says, he is despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. You hear that? A man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And then we go to verse 4. Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Now, what's all this about, griefs and sorrows? Well, I would suggest to you that look at the Young's literal translation on the right-hand side. It says, a man of pains acquainted with sickness. And then in verse 4, it says, surely our sicknesses he has borne, our pains he has carried them. And this is the thing. If we go to the interlinear here on Blue Letter Bible, and real quick, if we look at the words that are translated as sorrows and grief by most English translations, the word translated as sorrows is makob here, Hebrew number 4341. If we click on there, we see makobe. I think that's the pronunciation. It can be pain or sorrow, physical pain or mental pain. There's 16 times it's used, and it's used interchangeably. Sometimes it can be physical. It can be referring to physical pain. Other times it can be referring to actual, or emotional or mental pain. So, for example, physical pain, what would be Ayob or Job? Job 33:19. Man is also chastened with pain on his bed and with strong pain in many of his bones. So that's that pain is the word makob. But then it can be more sort of metaphorical pain, which is Exodus chapter 3 verse 7 would be a good example. Yahweh says basically, I see the oppression of my people who are in Egypt. I've heard their cry. I know their sorrows. So it can mean, one or the other. Now, the other words to look at, the other word that's translated as griefs is the word Choli. Choli, is that how you pronounce it? Hebrew number 2483, Choli. chole. That always means sickness. 24 times it's used in the Tanakh, always means sickness. And you look through the examples here. Yahweh will take away from you all your sicknesses. Yahweh will bring upon you and your descendants extraordinary plagues, great and serious and prolonged sicknesses, over and over and over again. There's a good example actually in the prophet YHWH. Early on in the prophet YHWH, it says, "This is the writing of Hezekiah, the king of Yehuda, when he had been sick and had recovered from his sickness." That word is holy, it means sickness. But in most English translations of Isaiah chapter 53 and 54, the word is not translated as sickness. It's translated as sorrows. A man of, grief. It's translated as grief. And if I go to verse 3 and do translation comparison, you can see this. Bringing up all the different English translations, the King James Version, sorrows, grief. NASB, sorrows, grief. Another? NIV, suffering and pain is a little bit more like it. Now, what I want to suggest to you is that is actually, that is obscuring the true meaning of this passage. And you know what? You might think, well, no, it's up in the air how you translate it. Well, it might be, but there is a translator who translated these passages many, many years before us, and that is Matthew, the writer of the Gospel of Matthew. And if we go to, let's have a look. If we go to Matthew chapter 28, I believe it is. Matthew chapter 8. Where are we? Matthew chapter 8, verse 16, let's go. "When evening had come, they brought to him many who were demon-possessed, and he cast out the spirits with a word, and healed all who were sick." Why? Verse 17. "That it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by Yeshayah the prophet, saying, He himself took our infirmities, and he bore our sicknesses." Both of those words there, in the Greek at least, are absolutely unequivocally referring to sickness. And so that is how Matthew understood the scripture there in Isaiah 53. Verse 3 and verse 4. He understood it to be referring to physical sickness and disease. And so, my friends, brothers and sisters, as I close, I think healing is in the atonement. I think healing is in the what YHWH has given to us. Yes, he's given us forgiveness of sins. He's given us redemption. He's given us atonement. He's achieved all those things for us in his ministry and his death and resurrection. But he's also given us He's also carried our infirmities and lifted up our sicknesses. And so, I want to just ask you, brothers and sisters, to not just accept sickness as being something that we should just accept, but pray against it. Pray against it. Do not accept sickness. Instead, pray in the name of YHWH to the Most High to deliver us from sickness, that we might be healed. Isaiah 53, check it out, brothers and sisters, verse 3 and verse 4, and then also Matthew chapter 8, verse 16 and 17, and see if I'm not making sense. That it appears to me that YHWH brings healing to us, and we should be seeking after healing if we are sick. All right, thanks for watching. Take care. I'll see you next time.